it's funny, the antithesis of him in many ways is Kennedy Chandler, right? A guy that does not have elite physical tools, but has a lot of the skill level that evaluators hope for. He certainly has the role that evaluators would love to see him in at Tennessee, where he does have the ball in his hands throughout most of the game, at least has the opportunity to have the ball in his hands throughout most of the game. And again, I mean, the same issues that we brought up with Kennedy Chandler in the preseason, I think continue to cause me pause, or to give me pause, I guess. It's hard to be a 6 foot, 165-pound guard in the NBA. And we've seen some flashes of difficulty for Kennedy Chandler thus far, adjusting to the size difference of players in college basketball.
Yeah, he's a blur. He's very fast with the ball in his hands, and he's quick most of the game. He gets on the break. If he gets a step in transition, like, he's beating you. I'm similar to you, where he had that game statistically because of the box score against Colorado, and people said, "See, here's the game." I actually felt worse about that game because I wasn't sold on that type of finishing working in college as it would against the NBA. The rotating big, and no disrespect to him at all, was Evan Batty, who's 6'8", 260. You're not having like that size of big rotating to help. It's 7 foot with the 7'7" wingspan. I will say he's a high percentage operator at pick and roll. He works on that well, and if guys go under, he's going to shoot. I don't really believe in the shot. I think there's a lot of God hand. People have pointed to other things saying it's going to work. It could get there. He worked on it all summer to improve. And then I'll give him credit for having stones too. Like the second half versus Colorado.
Oh, totally.
It was a back and forth game. There's around the 8-minute mark. He calls his own number. He scores through contact. Like, he's not afraid. He's not going to shy from the big moment. The other one I want to point out is he had a really rough game against Texas Tech, which was a very tough basketball game to watch. But he was 4 for 13. He was 1 for 5 from 3. He had 5 assists, 5 turnovers. In the UNC Greensboro game I watched, they were very physical with him, and they picked him up full court. They made sure he didn't get any easy looks. He was 2 for 9. The size and strength, and that's going to become the scout now when you get into conference play, how he adapts and works to that could be a little bit telling on what it's going to look like in the NBA as well.
So the two best defenses that Kennedy Chandler has played so far, we would say, are Villanova and Texas Tech, right?
Yes. And I was at the Villanova game.
Yeah, Texas Tech, he goes 4 for 13 from the field, 5 turnovers versus 5 assists, 9 points, 4 fouls. I think he had a couple late, like when they were kind of trying to like get back in the game. Yeah, I don't know, the fouls thing matters as much. Versus Villanova, 1 for 9, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, 6 points.
He was bad. He was bad. Santiago was
those are
the game a little bit. It wasn't him.
Yeah, like those are the two games that I think evaluators, along with the UNC game, because there were certainly a lot of scouts at the UNC game because that was the Hall of Fame tip-off event. And he went 6 of 13 with 8 assists and 2 turnovers for 14 points. Went 4 of 10 in the lane, though, again, against size, or from 2-point range. And that's, again, against size that he will actually play in the NBA, because UNC has guys like Dawson Garcia and Armando Bacot. You kind of go through his game log, and the games where he's had success in the paint, one of them was the Colorado game where he went 12 for 14 from 2-point range, and he just drove, and Colorado had no idea what they were doing defending him. Essentially, It was kind of ridiculous. Like Tennessee Tech 5 for 9 from 2-point range, Presbyterian 6 for 10 from 2-point range, ETSU 4 for 6 from 2-point range. Like, these are all terrible teams. And whenever I've seen Kennedy Chandler now play against teams that I think have like real NBA level size, it's kind of in the back of my mind where I am a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried about where we're at this point.
So where, as a collective kind of draft community, then, do you think all of this Kennedy Chandler lottery top 10 talk has come from? You and I are pretty aligned.
Yeah.
I do want to say also, despite his size, he is a good defender. He averages 2.3 steals per game. He does average 0.6 blocks, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot for his size. He does that like Cole Anthony, weak side, crank up, try to block at the rim or jump shooter. So he does have that in his defensive toolbox. But where's the top 10 stuff coming from? What am I missing when I watch? What do I have to watch differently?
Yeah. I mean, look, like I don't really see it either. I have him more in the 20 range as well. I think that it's probably coming from the same people that had Sharif Cooper last year as a top 5, top, 7 guy in the class, and just don't really account for how difficult it is to be a high level scorer. Like, is Kennedy Chandler better, or how difficult it is to be a high level scorer at that size? I should finish that statement in the NBA. Like, is Kennedy Chandler a better prospect than Sharif Cooper? That's what I keep coming back to. Like,
I would still take honestly, Sharif Cooper. And Sharif Cooper, you look at his G League stats, he's putting up legitimate numbers. And G League's not real life. Summer League's not real life. I went back today just for kind of context of Franz Wagner in the Summer League averaged 8 points per game, wasn't great. In his last 12, he's been a top 3 rookie in the NBA. So Summer League's not real. G League's not real. There are some indicators there.
Yeah.
I'm also in Boston. I've seen Tremont Waters play really well in the G League at that type of size, but it's still like a level up. Like it's still a next step to that place. I'm more pro Sharif Cooper if you said take one or the other right now.
I think I am too. And I will say Kennedy has the advantage, I think, of being a better shooter than Sharif Cooper is. And I think that NBA teams will probably buy that part of his skill set a little bit more. But like,
this is such a depressing podcast.
It's hard, but it's hard.
We need to interject some energy here. I don't know if we take a 5-hour energy in the middle here or what we have to do, but we need some positivity.
You literally just watched me drink coffee. Like, I just feel,
I told you,
like
I can't drink my amino acids on the air because I have to go to the bathroom and we're going to record for another hour because I know how these things go. There's some prospect out there. There's a guard prospect out there. I love Jaden Ivey. We've said that. He's not a point guard, but I love Jaden Ivey. There's somebody here who's still going to surprise us too. There's still going to be somebody who comes out of this grouping that's better than we thought. I don't know if it's either one of those two guys, but there's still some good things here.
Right. And like I should say, like I think Kennedy Chandler probably shoots 35% from 3 in the NBA at some point. Like I think that, like, look, he's shooting 40% right now. Like I think that that's where it comes from, right? He's averaging 15 points and 5 assists per game while shooting 47% from the field and 40% from 3. Those are really good numbers for a freshman. And I think that evaluators who look at the box score numbers extensively and then also just like watch the highlight flashes of Kennedy Chandler, those moments are really strong. Right. Like those are like genuinely really fun moments. You go back and you watch that Colorado game, like there is a lot there. It's just that when you watch teams that know how to like actually defend, I mean, it hasn't been as good. It hasn't been terrible. He's a first round pick, I think. Like I would take him right around the 20s, just like I would have taken. I had Sharif Cooper ranked like somewhere like in the early 20s, but
right.
I just struggle with the size is a real issue. It's a significant, substantial issue once you get to the NBA.
All right, so